Let's see how to get started with React Router. I'm going to start with installing Bootstrap. We will need it later to style the navigation bar that we will be building. So let's start our development server and install Bootstrap. And let's also import Bootstrap in our index.js file. So that's great. Let's restart our development server. Okay, so first let's remove everything from our app to keep things as simple as possible. And now let's create a components folder where we'll place 3 new components: home, contact, and about. And let's start by writing the contact component. And as you can see, it's basically as simple as possible. It's a function component that simply returns a div, and inside this div we have an h1 and a paragraph. Let's duplicate this content to the about component and to the home component. Great, so we have our new 3 components, and now let's import them to app.js. And let's try to use the home component just to see that everything works as expected. So let's take a look at our browser, and indeed we see here our home component. Next thing that we're going to do is actually install React Router DOM. And now that we have React Router DOM installed, let's import the BrowserRouter component and also routes and route. And now, instead of returning a div, we'll return a BrowserRouter component. And now that we have our BrowserRouter, instead of always returning the same component, we can return different components according to the route. So all of the routes have to be enclosed by a routes component. And here we can start specifying our routes. Each route is going to have a path to define its relative URL, and it's also going to have an element prop, and this will decide what will be displayed in this URL. And let's also create routes for the contact and about pages. Let's now restart our development server. And now we should be able to use different URLs to get to different components. So right now we're seeing the home page or the home component. But if I now use the contact URL, it seems that I forgot to update something there, so let's check it. So yeah, let's update it. And we can now see the contact page. And if we change to the about page, we can see the about page indeed. So let's get back to our home page. And here it is. Next, let's create a navigation bar with links to each of our 3 pages. And as you can see, I used 2 Bootstrap classes here to help with the styling of the navigation bar. I use an unordered list for the actual links in the navigation bar. And each of these links is going to be a list item, of course. And we're going to have 3 of them. Now, inside each of these list items, we're going to have our actual links. But notice that I'm not going to use anchor tags. What I am going to use is link components. So as you can see, this is a link component, and it uses the to prop instead of href, which we have in a normal anchor tag. The advantage of using a link over anchor is that clicking on a link that was created by a link component doesn't require accessing the server. It's something that's performed inside the client, and this way we save the extra access to the server. So let's also create links to our contact and about pages. And of course, we have to import link from React Router doc. If we get back to our browser, we now have our navigation bar, and you can see that if we click on any of the links, the URL changes accordingly, and we are presented with the updated page.